On this episode of the Casually Human podcast with Martin Kigondu, we have the honor of sitting down with David Muriithi, aka DJ Delight. David is a creative entrepreneur, seasoned MC, keynote speaker, and former talent manager, known for shaping Kenya's music and creative scene. He is a prolific and revered business skills trainer for creatives and has worn many hats over the years, including auditor, realtor, music promoter, and part-time DJ. He's also the founder of the Creative Enterprise Center, a regional consultancy building capacity in the creative industries across Africa. Man, this was such a cool interview with the OG, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as I did.
Ah, man, I don't know where to start because I think you're the epitome of a higher Renaissance man, yeah? And I think you're one of the coolest people I've read about, interacted with, and actually met, Maze.
I mean, look,
Yeah?
let's qualify that. The second part I agree with, the cooler part. But if you don't know where to start, we're in trouble.
Yeah?
This podcast is in trouble. Oh my goodness.
No, easy, we're good. We're good. I'll start with nitakuenjoy kidogo, yeah? So we've been trying to figure what cushion or pillow works for you the best.
Yani, unajua,
Yeah? So let's start there. What is the secret to youth for you? Because the moment someone discovers your age, they're like, wait, what? No, I would think they were way, way more younger. So what are you doing? Is it genetic? Am you actually working out here? Am you going with the flow?
and maybe all three, who knows? First of all,
Yeah?
fantastic.
Thanks for the interruption. Asante sana.
I've been waiting for this actually.
Yeah? Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Do you mind if I point for it?
Sure.
Go ahead. That's excellent.
Aye.
This is the best thing, I think.
You love it.
I am
The
obsessed with
fruity
it.
tea.
Fruity tea.
Yeah.
If you're ever around here, just try this out.
Aye.
Um,
You go.
I'm 56.
56.
I'm 56 years old.
Yeah.
56. I mean, but I have back issues and, aches and pains. Wake up in the morning, things go.
Yeah.
The truth is, I'm starting to feel my age.
Okay.
Do I work out? No.
Okay.
I walk 2 or 3 times a week at Jaffrey's, early in the morning, at like 5:30 in the morning with a couple of friends. At least that keeps the oil moving and the joints moving.
Yeah.
Other than that, to be honest, I
Yeah.
don't do anything. I do a bit of yoga every morning and every evening. Just kidogo, like 5-10 minutes. Just quick stretchy yoga. Not full length, yoga. I used to do Bikram yoga back in the day
Yeah.
for like 6-7 years. So this one I do more to just stretch in the morning and in the evenings after a hot shower. That's about it. That's my regime.
Okay. Okay. No,
Yeah.
I like it because
I mean, the other stuff, I think they're young viewers. I wouldn't want to talk about. But it also helps.
well noted. Well noted. What about your diet? Because let's see. Around 10 months ago, you were sick for a bit there.
Yeah, that was a freak accident.
Okay. Just talk about it a bit.
It's funny, not funny.
Okay.
But funny now, I can laugh about it. So I like chili. But I know usually if I'm going to have any chili, I'd have it in the afternoons.
Okay.
Early after, like I have it for lunch. This time I had it for a late lunch at home. And then kausingizi shikad.
Okay.
So I said, let me just lie. I was on my couch. I was on, the couch in the sitting room. So let me just lie down and just rest. After, let's say like eating ugali, how you just have that sleep that catches up and you can't fight it.
Yeah.
So I went to lie down. And here's the thing, now that I know better. They say ideally you should, when you're sleeping, you should sleep on your left because of how your stomach is shaped.
Okay.
The whole thing about digestion, it's shaped this way, it's juices and things, and you learn sometimes the hard way. So I lay on my right-hand side. And because I didn't to firifiris,
Yeah.
your body's already active,
Ooh,
and not let it settle. And you get something called naitwaje. It's a reflux, but from your bile, it's called bile reflux. Normally you get reflux from your acidity in the stomach, acid. But this bile reflux, which is very alkaline, and you'd think if alkaline and acid goes together, they'd sort of net off each other.
Yeah.
They do the opposite. It's adding petrol to fire.
Oof.
And so my stomach basically went on fire. And I found myself in hospital for the next 5 days.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So it was a one-off.
Man.
It wasn't, I didn't have a condition or anything.
Okay.
But I hadn't been in hospital over 30 years, so it was a weird experience, but an interesting one.
Yeah.
But diet, 2 years ago I went on a keto OMAD diet, which is basically, no carbs or very, very few carbs and 1 meal a day. And I tell you, like in 3 months, I lost 10 kgs.
Yeah.
I was trying to do it before my birthday at the time. And literally on the day of my birthday, I weighed myself and I was exactly 10 kgs down. Like I
Look at that.
hit it like on the head.
Look at that. Yeah.
And that was an amazing feeling, I must say. It's of course, a few kgs have come back now. And I'm trying to go back onto it slightly because it takes a lot of discipline, but I enjoyed it. I felt a lot better. My skin, everything, I felt more active. It gave me a lot more energy. A lot of people think, how will you survive without eating rice and potatoes, Warus are life. Not for me. Actually, I don't really like warus. Sorry, ancestors. But I think especially at a more advanced stage, especially, but not limited to.
Okay.
I think diet and exercise are two very important components to a better life. Because health is wealth.
Yeah,
It
this
doesn't
is
matter how much money you have, you can't buy health. Or really, not that easily, so to speak. So I think, yes, I think diet
Okay.
and exercise is so key, particularly at my age.
Yeah.
It's so key. And however, the interesting thing for me, what I found out is, I think more so than that, and the third ingredient, a lot of people talk about mental wellness, but actually, the key ingredient is your mind, the
Yeah.
health of your mind.
Yeah.
When your mind is healthy, everything else follows. Because I know, for example, when I'm under stress, I eat. I do stress eating. Okay. I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, luckily, but I will stress eat. And I'll stress eat sweet things because of what the body needs to counter certain feelings. So, like, I'm aware of that. So sometimes I have to counter it, but then I know, okay, something is wrong. If I'm feeling like that, something is wrong. So I check myself. So having, I think, a healthy mind, really, I mean, if you look at a lot of the issues a lot of people have with alcohol, with food, with, I don't know, whatever, issues people have, who express themselves that way, it usually starts here.
With the mind.
Yeah, it's an unsettled mind. I won't call it unhealthy, I'll say unsettled mind.
Yeah.
So it shows up in food, in alcohol, in smoking, in drugs, in whatever. But when the mind is healthy, things tend to flow a lot better. There's calmer, you're in control essentially of your emotions, as opposed to the emotions being in control of you. Yeah.
What are some of those things that you'd say have brought you to that space of acquired stability? And it could be things that have been with you for the longest. Could be not only things around diet and your space, but what about friendships? What about work? Are there choices that you're like, this is stability for me?
A few things.
Okay.
There's something my mother always told me from when I think I was a teenager. Usibebe msalaba ya mtu mwingine. Do not carry somebody else's cross.
Okay.
And it never made as much sense as it did in my latter years. And my interpretation of that is, listen, deal with what is yours, and more importantly, deal with what you can. What you can't, let it go, because jumping up and down will not change the thing you cannot have any power to deal over, to deal with. So I think it's just that constant recognition day by day, and I think it's a day by day thing you need to get through. If you're sitting in traffic and you can't, as they say, where's ruka?
Yeah.
Nagari yako. So getting stressed out and road rage won't help you. If there's a car stuck in front, getting angry will not help you. You cannot do anything about it. So just chill. You won't die from chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can actually die from getting stressed. So it's things like that. I mean, that's simplifying it, I know, but it's actually a day-to-day occurrence. It's things like, if you're walking out and you got rained on, you forgot to carry your umbrella, you're wet. So what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not sweating the small stuff. I remember reading that book on not sweating the small stuff like 15 years ago maybe, and all that started making sense, or putting all those things together and just letting go. You can be and this is what I like to say, you can be in a stressful situation, but you don't need to let the stress actually enter your body. Because once stress enters the system, it acts like a bit of a cancer. It has to find a way out. Energy is opposite, and you have opposite forces. So a lot of disease actually comes from just stress that's trapped and has to find a way out. So just let it go, relax, man, And that's how, this is where the youth comes from. Okay, it's from my grandmother's genes, of course, and my mother. I can't take full credit for that. But to be honest, I think managing stress has been one of my greatest revelations and something I live by. I sleep very well at night.
Oh, that's good.
And Ngorota even have that athwaya. We call it
that
athwaya.
kadrul.
If you don't wake up with a kadrul, ladies and gentlemen, you're not sleeping well. Check yourself. Like a white thing. We call it athwaya because it connects to the pillow and it earths the whole system.
Well noted, Maze. And I'm glad you do. Let's look at the many, many years that you've gotten to do what you do. And there are people that you've met that a lot of us, not only in the room, but even across the country, have been like, hey, you've met Sir Alex Ferguson, you've met Barack Obama, you've met all these greats. And one of the people I learned that you met, and I was so excited to have known, was DJ Premier. Yeah, and I like this because this is, in my books, and I'm sure in a lot of people's books, one of the OGs in the hip-hop industry, yeah? But I also like to mention that because it takes us way back to the beginnings of you following your creative path. So let's circle where you are when you're meeting DJ Premier. Let's build that world, then we'll take it from there.
Do our viewers know who DJ Premier is, Kwanzaa?
Good question.
It's like talking about Elvis, nearly.
You know?
Some people will be like, who's DJ Premier?
Yeah.
So DJ Premier and Guru formed one of the most prominent hip-hop acts of the 90s, a group called Gangsta. They were like the top hip-hop act, and they introduced a genre. They rather, not introduced, I'd say, expanded and spread the gospel of acid jazz and the genre of music. And at the time, I was in Manchester University. This was in 1988, in my first year. And I very quickly, I started DJing around that time, and by chance, very quickly, rapidly, my career sort of shot up and became one of the top DJs in Manchester. So what tended to happen when an artist comes to perform, there's always a space when people are walking in, settling and everything. You have like 2 hours to DJ, to warm up the gig. But here's the thing. I had another side as well. So Manchester used to have a newspaper called the Mancunian, Mancunian, which was the student union newspaper, basically. And at the time, and I think the fact still rests now, but Manchester generally, in the greater Manchester, has the highest population of students in Europe because there are so many constituent colleges and other colleges, Salford, Metropolitan. So when you add all those students together, it's got the largest concentration, like it's a student town. And I remember back then in 88, the circulation, it was a free newspaper, but really well done, had 10,000, we used to distribute 10,000 a week. Back then, I don't know, it must be maybe 5 times that now.
Yeah.
And I was the editor of the entertainment section, which was the center spread. So we used to review music, and those days was Kinanda, it was vinyl.
Yeah.
Music, theater, film, and concerts. So here's the deal. I worked smart. So because I used to interview concerts and everything, as a student, editor, I had access to any concert that was coming in and to interview the artists. So I'd interview them and then tell them, by the way, I'm a DJ. They say, oh, actually, we're looking for somebody. Can you open for us? And that's actually got a lot of my initial gigs. Okay. And in England, we used to call it blagging. It's just, unatumia tu mdomo, Yeah. It opens the doors for you. So I used to combine a lot of the things I used to do to feed off each other. So by chance, Premier were in town. I got to interview them. Then I said, hey, by the way, I know you're, in 2 days, but I'm also, so they hadn't thought of who was going to open at the time. The promoter got me in, and it was a big event, and I got to open. I remember we did the sound check, and then they were bored. They're like, hey, where do we go grab something, whatever. And I persuaded them to come into my student room, my hall of residence room, a place called Whitworth Park, a very famous place. And I had decks in my room, so we're jamming, we're playing music, and I remember they signed the album, and I made them hot chocolate. Now, those days, unfortunately, there's no social media, there was no selfie, there was no... The proof is here.
Hakuna
in my head.
Kalatas.
And that happened with quite a number of artists. I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. I opened, for Simply Red, Mick Hucknall, he was from Manchester, but he was one of the biggest British acts at the time. For Run DMC, for Brand New Heavies. This is the period between 89 to 91. Sugar Hill Gang, there's a group called Tackhead, they formed. Who else? Omar. I can't remember some of them. But it was fun. And I did a lot of gigs, including being the first African to DJ in Ibiza.
Around the same.
The first African DJ in Ibiza in 1989.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, what is Coffee JO story,
No.
guys? that is insane. That is so insane.
Fun times.
Let's, first of all, I'm curious about how you knew to do that, how you knew to, plug yourself.
I didn't.
Yeah? You just went in?
Did.
Yeah?
I was studying economics and accounting. My future career, which became auditing, I always knew that would be the path. But this side, I was always, look, we're all born creative. Along the line, because of institutions and culture and social things and religion, our creativity gets less expressed.
Yeah.
But any child who's born, the first thing they have is creativity. And some develop it, and for some it dies along the way. And what we're even seeing in today's time and now is younger people actually expressing creativity. It's more appreciated, it's more expressed and everything. In our days, especially like from a career point of view, we had 6 careers to choose from.
Okay.
Legal, medical, financial, teaching, which was respected back then, civil service, and there's one more I'm forgetting, and engineering, yeah. If you're outside that sphere, generally, even when your parents introduced you, they said, yeah, this is our son, the engineer. It's not only the Luo culture, this was Kenya culture then. This is our son, the doctor. Yeah, and then there's this one. Anyway, so then they'd move on. They don't even say he's a musician, he's an artist. No, you are just considered a failure.
Yeah.
So to see people nowadays, saying they're going to pursue a degree in, I don't know, sports science or in culinary arts or in filmmaking, it's so beautiful to see now. But we didn't have that opportunity then.
You getting into finance, is this a personal choice?
Listen, let's be very clear about generations. In our generation, your career was chosen for you. And anyone else, please, comments on our YouTube, because in our generation, your career was predestined, probably from the time you were born.
Okay.
That Lion King thing, So it's like, this one will be a doctor, and this one will be an engineer, and this one will be an auditor, which was me. And I looked at some of the things, especially my parents, my father especially, put me through some hoops over life. I realized it set me up for a world of finance from a very young age. From a very young age.
They were planting the seeds.
Literally, when you talk about planting, we used to have a coffee farm. And at the age of 8, we worked on the farm, I think from when I was 7. We always worked during the holiday, partly in something he was involved with. So our work culture started from there. And half the holiday, you had to work to get pocket money. And I remember I used to work on the farm. And I progressed. When I was about 9 or 10, I progressed from the planting and everything to paying the workers. And they'd bring a little coffee bag. And I remember very clearly, a bag was $3.50. And I'd stand there with the accountant or whatever, the farm manager, and he'd give me there was 2 bags, one with 50 cents. 50 cents, let me convert that. Ladies and gentlemen, there was 50 cents, and not the artist. But 50 cents, and then one had shillings. And I'd pick 1, 2, 3, and 50, and pay them 3 shillings and 50 cents. And he'd let me do that. That's the age of 9, 10. Dude, my father was setting me up, man.
Yeah, clearly.
I loved maths, yes, but and so on and so forth. So in even some of his other businesses I got involved in later, again, it was in the finance side. My mentors became finance people, just kidogo. So it was just when I was choosing a career, I was like, oh, what shall I do? Oh, I think I'll do finance. and economics. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
think, yeah.
And why not finance at the UON, AMA at unajua JKUAT or other? Are you set up for this? Did they always know that you'd end up in Manchester?
Not really. We were, I like to say we were, hey, this might be a sensitive topic, but here we are. I'll say it in very general terms. We were deported to the UK
Okay.
for some, I would say, political reasons back in the day. We were shifted out
Okay.
for a while.
For a
For like
while.
the next 13 years.
Yeah.
So I went
You
to...
there by yourself?
My sister and I went first, and then my other brothers followed later.
Okay.
So I was there for 13 years. So I started high school here. Then halfway through, I was extracted to there. So yeah, so I guess Manchester was just a choice. My brother was already there, actually,
Okay.
2 years ahead of me. So it was a natural choice.
Okay.
And it was fun times.
Yeah, yeah.
Fun time. Manchester's a great, great city.
What do you notice about yourself within the first few years of campus, you know? So you're just from Kenya. You've known yourself as this self for the longest. Yeah, then here you are, probably more white people than there are people of your skin
Hell yeah.
color. Yeah.
You think?
What are you noticing about yourself? You probably thought you were, I don't know, more sporty than you realize you're not. What are these discoveries?
To be fair, I went to high school. Half of my high school was in the UK already. So by the time I was going to university, I was already nilikuwa nishawazoea. But interesting thing, when I went to school there, so you're choosing which sports to do, everything. So I said, oh, Kenyan, cross country. The last time I did cross country, I was in Nyeri High, and I was last.
Yeah.
And they put me in, I thought, I was Zungu, of course.
Yeah.
I was last again. Cross country is not my thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's just be clear. So I joined the basketball team and became one of the best basketball. One, because it was in a gym and it was warm.
Okay.
Because I couldn't understand how these guys are running when it's like 5 degrees.
Yeah.
Are they crazy?
Yeah.
I still think that even now. And such. So I started choosing indoor sports. Having said that, in the summer, I started doing 800 meters and I became quite good at it. I don't know how that happened. I think it was nearly accidental. Because 400 is a bit too fast and 1.5 is a bit too feeling marathonic.
So,
but somehow I just...
sweet
And
spot.
800 is actually technically one of the hardest races to actually win, if you look at it. Because you're in between paces. You have to really be disciplined. And I became pretty okay. I wasn't like star winning, but I won a couple of medals here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
But what helped me throughout... Actually, I did martial arts for about 14 years. That's something a lot of people might not know.
Interesting.
I started doing martial arts, taekwondo, when I was 8 years old, when I was here in Kenya. And I used to train even with the Kenya national team at some point. And then when I went to the UK, I did Kung Fu. I changed. I was trained by a Singaporean friend of mine, the art of Kung Fu. And then when I joined university, I was trained by a top world specialist in Wing Chun Kung Fu and something called Qigong, which is like Tai Chi. But so I was doing both arts and what they call weapons as well. So I was actually quite fit because I was also a break dancer.
Oh,
So in my youth, I was very fit. Very, very fit.
Clearly, yeah.
And the thing about Taekwondo especially, it works a lot on the legs. And at the same time, I was a breakdancer. In fact, I was the Kenya national breakdancing champion. I know you want to get that out of the way. I can see you. So I'll just get that out of the way. I don't want rumors. It's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I was 15. I won the Kenya national breakdancing championship. I know I don't look like it, but it's a fact. Check it out. In fact, there's a kanini of me on IG breakdancing the other day. Check it.
Yeah.
It's a fact. So I was fit. And that helped me, I think, with some of the sports I was doing. Even like the basketball, I could, short as I was, I used to be able to
Still
go down
impressive.
and spring. Yeah. So I guess that helped me a lot,
Okay.
stamina-wise.
How about you and money? How is that for you? Are you, especially now that as a DJ, you're earning money. As a young man, how is that for you? Are there any regrets around that? Ama, that is when you sort of...
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I mentioned I had a mentor who was, again, a finance person. And very early on, it's interesting that he came to my life when he did, when I was actually making quite a lot of money as a student. Because it was good. But he taught me how to invest
Okay.
at a very early age. So, and that carried on actually. I think into a latter part of, of course now becoming an auditor, I become a bit more cautious, etc. Having said that, I think I'm one of two minds. There's also the creative side of me. I know creatives and money, we are strange bedfellows, okay? And so on one side, I believe, yes, there should be a savings culture. And on the other side, up to now, I still believe live and let live. So it's a nice balance between the two. It's like two voices always speaking to me. And I think I've just lived a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. Because I know we could even go year by year at the UK, but I could sort of blanket it because there's now the coming back home, yeah? So let's speak on 2 or 3 things that you missed from the experience in the UK when you came back home 13 years later. Do you, one, feel more English than you are Kenyan? Do you feel like a foreigner in some sort of way? And what do you miss about the UK before you now fully settle in?
Hapo umeni affect. Actually, was not because I had to, but because I wanted to.
Okay.
I was a resident already, and actually, I was eligible for a British passport at the time. And when that was offered to me, I was at Ernst & Young at the time, chartered accountants. And the legal team called me and said, hey, you've been here long enough, now we can apply for you. In fact, you need to do nothing. We'll get you a British passport. Now, at the time, there was no dual nationality maneno. You either had to give up the Kenyan passport to get a British passport or else,
Yeah.
But I was already a resident, so I could have continued living there as a resident, still, indefinite leave to stay. Something sparked something in me when that offer came. I can't explain it today, but that thing of being told, give up your Kenyan passport, I was like, wait, why? I could feel my forefathers just talking to me, And that's when I realized, I think I was done. I'd gotten what I needed to get out of this place. It was time to go home. And in less than 2 months, I'd packed my bags and came home. Very suddenly. In fact, the funny side of the story is I came home without telling anyone I was coming home. I thought I'd surprise my parents. Boy, did they surprise me. I landed. And you have to know, those days there were no mobile. Kulikuwa na ile.
Yeah.
I thought, let me surprise them. So I landed, taxi, dropped me off at home, took off. Again, you could call a taxi, yeah? So once you're there, you're there. Yeah. And home was locked. They had gone to Shags. They'd gone to Shags. There were no kids at home. They had gone to Shags.
So surprise.
So I was like, where? I'm knocking. I'm like, hello?
Yeah.
And I remember going to stay at a friend's house, somewhere near here actually, a friend's house for 2-3 days. Then on Tuesday, when I was told to come back, I did part 2, seconds away, part 2. Surprise!
Yeah.
Then they looked at me, said, what's wrong? I was like, okay, really, mom? Really? Like, what do you mean, what's wrong? Aren't you happy? Like, what's wrong? Because we were just so spooked. Like, what are you doing here? Hey, I said, okay, well, that surprise was double,
Yeah.
So, and eventually I told him, look, it's time to come home. I always knew I had a job here with Ernst & Young, thankfully. The partners always said, when you come home, you're obviously going to work with us. But I took 3 months off just to chill.
Yeah.
And then joined now the regional, the East African practice for a few more years. Yeah.
How long did it take before you fully felt as if you were now rooted back home?
I used to come home maybe once every 2 years or once every year. So I still never lost my connection with home, ever.
Good.
I don't think there's something I missed heavily, except one thing, the banking system. I'll never forget, back then. Because the banking system is not, now I think we are ahead of them in very many ways. But before that, we were very old school back in the day. This is in the 90s, mid-90s.
Yeah.
And banking used to be so frustrating, queuing up. So that's the one thing I used to feel, I wish things were a bit smoother. But other than that, I was so happy to be home. You've never seen a happier diaspora returnee than me.
Yeah.
I was so happy to be home. I could visit my grandma. I could, visit my cousins, my friends, my childhood friends. For me, that was everything. And the weather, man.
Yeah.
Eish.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Look at that. So we are now in the 90s, smack in the 90s. A lot of things are going on. Not too many radio stations, right?
Yeah.
Not too many gigs out
Yeah.
here. Nairobi is popping. The
Yep.
music scene is also sort of coming up. The DJs are also not too many. Do you notice a gap and start DJing already, or do you stay corporate for a minute before you make that move?
Actually, no, the DJs, by the 90s, the DJs were many.
Okay.
I would say. The 80s, not so much. The 90s, definitely, because when I used to come on holiday, I used to carry my records and I used to come and guest DJ in various places. So people like DJ Cariz, Babs, oh gosh, I go blank. But there were so many DJs who were already there.
Okay.
Even Mike Rabat, Homeboy, the original Homeboys. There were places like Visions and Choices and Carnival, of course, and Bubbles. They used to have DJs, so I'd come in as a guest DJ. So there was already a scene, definitely. I mean, sometimes I'd come with some of the latest records, but very soon after, people could get access to those records as well. I remember DJ Pinya used to be one of the most premier DJs later on, and we'd always have the latest records. And there were certain people who were supplying records to all the DJs in Nairobi, especially. So the scene was alight, I think, by the time I came back.
Okay.
The music scene, not so much.
Who's out here when you're back?
I think Zanaziki, Art,
Zeki, that's...
Jamriambo.
Yeah.
As in, it's so interesting. The other day, last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago sometime, I put out a post on Facebook. Facebook, so, Gen X's, I could talk to them. Facebook, just another side, I talked about Facebook to my niece once. She said, Facebook still exists. I was hurt. But anyway, I just need her to know that. I hope she's going to watch this. And I asked, who remembers what Kenyan music was there between 1994 and 95? And I'd like everyone here to even think about it. Not 96, not 97, not 98. 94 to 95, for those, of course, who are alive. Between 1994 and 1995, I put it out on Facebook, and everyone was quoting music from 97, 98, even to 2000.
Later.
But only one or two are quoting music correctly. And you realize Kenyan music, Kenyan pop music especially, let me be specific, as opposed to rumba or anything, had not been commercialized heavily. And even the little that was there was very Nairobi-centric. And nothing had gone national or anything then. So it was just I pondered on that. I don't know what sparked that sort of question. And that's roughly the time I was slowly sort of coming back in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess things changed soon after.
Soon after.
Yeah.
Look at that. Do you see the opportunity also as a manager then? And
Yes.
say even the events organizing side as well?
So, whilst I was also DJing in Manchester, I also started managing a band.
Okay.
Or 2 or 5. I ended up managing 5 bands. And doing events, very big events actually. Actually, I produced a lot of big events. That's actually where a lot of my money came from. But I started managing a band that was made up of some of my flatmates in my first year. And it started accidentally. They just wanted to do a gig. There's a pub I used to DJ at. I said, hey, Thursday is dead. Can these guys just come and play music here? I said, yeah. The guy said he was an Iranian owner. He said, yeah, he's my friend. He said, yeah, let them come. So we came, they played. They were paid in beers, which was a big thing as a student. Like, wow, we made it. Then he said, oh, they were actually quite good. Let them come next Thursday. So I went out and I said, oh, actually, let's tell some of our friends. And we told some more people. And more people came the next Thursday. And remember, he paid us £10 back then, which feels like maybe £300 today or something.
Okay.
And every time I would introduce the band, I said, ladies and gentlemen, they're called the Funk Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Funk Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Funk Foundation. So I remember when you got the £10, and I gave them, I said, hey, 5 of you, better distribute it, £2 each. And said, no, but you're part of the band. You're our manager. And that's the first time anyone ever used that term. Ooh. I said, oh, actually, I thought about it. Actually, yeah, I'm the one who organized you to come here, your instruments. Oh, is that what a manager does? And that started my management career, accidentally. At the end of my first year, they were signed up to a sub-label of Warner Brothers. And I got paid for the contract. I actually contracted them. And I got bought out. That happened again in the second year. Another band I took on got signed up by Warner Brothers. So by the end of my university, I had actually 2 internationally signed artists. And that, in between, I managed 3 other artists who also made it somewhat big. And accidentally, that's how I entered the artist management career. when I came back home, I saw the gap. And I linked up with an old friend who had met through Peter Olera, which was Ted Josiah. And he said, hey, you're back. Remember when you helped us to do this and the other? I started talking. He said, oh, there's this artist. I'm sort of recording and sort of come and see him perform. I remember it was at a place called, it was somewhere downtown. What's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, just somewhere near railways. There was a little club.
Okay.
And I saw this artist performing. I think this was in 97. And I looked at him. I was like, wow, this guy has something in him. So Ted asked me, would you consider like managing him or something, helping me with him? I said, yeah, let's check it out. That artist's name was Hardstone. And of the Ohiki fame.
Yeah.
And that was the first artist I signed up in Kenya when I moved back.
So still under your company?
So I set up, I had set up an entertainment company when I came back.
Yeah, okay.
I was doing my side hustles. Now in Kenya, you can do side hustles. In England, you couldn't.
Okay.
So I started managing, and there started a sort of future career, of which Ted Josiah played a huge part, because what he produced, I usually managed. So Kalamashaka, Gidigidi Majimaji, Necessary Noise, Kinashila Mwanyiga, Atemi, they were called Into at the time, and a host of other artists. We ended up forming our own label, Audio Vault, which became Blue Zebra afterwards. And we're the ones who discovered Nameless, Mega Rider, we're the ones who recorded Mega Rider. Suzano Wio, Kisumu 100, Tingbani Malo, all those songs, and Bogabol were all under our sort of wing.
Yeah.
And I think that was when urban Kenyan music started finding voice. Of course, at the time, there was, people like Suzanga Shukia, who was running her studio, Bruce Odhiambo, and then later now, Ogopa DJs, and then, of course, Caliph, and all those followed, soon after. But I think the late 90s and the early 2000s, for me, is the golden year of Kenyan pop music. Because you play an Ogopa song up to today, everyone here will stand up and dance.
This is true.
Still. But I feel like there's music today, and I'll be shot for this, obviously, by the younger people, but there's music today that is probably going to be forgotten in 2 years from now. It won't, it's like listening to, let's say, Zilizopendwa. When you listen to, like, rumba, even young people will dance to rumba today with older people. You get? Why? Because I think it was musical, the songwriting was fantastic, but also the producers were also in a band more times than not. They knew how to play instruments. Now we've got people who do beats. Even me, I can be called a producer today. I just need now with AI even. And I'll say I'm a producer, which is also valid, but in terms of the arrangement, they struggle with it. So you find a lot of Kenyan music sounding very much the same. The lyrics might be different, but you hear, technically it's very, there's something, not all of it, some of it stands out, the Sauti Souls, the Biens, and others, Nyashinski. But on average, I think we still need a way to go.
Yeah.
To really get a certain sound that sounds like it'll have legs in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. And I could go in that direction and even speak about, say, the Kenyan sound and all, but for now, wacha tusimamie hapo for now.
And lest you forget, remember this episode of the Casually Human podcast with Martin Kigondu is brought to you by Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl is a casual, full-service dining restaurant featuring an inviting indoor and outdoor space with fresh and pretentious ambience with warm colors. Perfect for intimate dinners, business meetings, and social gatherings. Their menu is strongly based off a continental cuisine, enhanced with Mediterranean and Italian influences. So, go, visit, dine, take your meetings, take your dates, birthdays, and so on to Sugar Bowl already. They are conveniently located at the Shell petrol station in Spring Valley. Ni hapa tu, Lower Kabete. Again, go check them out, have a good time, and tell them Sugar Bowl came highly recommended by Martin Kigondu from the Casually Human podcast. Let's get back into the convo.
So far, so good?
Why do you have the whole Nini on your side?
The whole? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why?
Right.
See, I'm a guest. You just say the guest, Maze.
Say less.
I'm being served by an award-winning actor, producer, I just want to see director.
There you
I want this moment.
Sure.
Just captured. Thank you very much. I just wanted that to happen.
Oh, good, man.
I've been waiting to say that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man, enjoy.
Asante sana.
Enjoy. And for you as well. Order as much. We don't mind the noise of you ordering, right? Yeah, good. Tuendelee. What happens to the finance corporate side, you know, because at some point, like you say, 90% of who we know you as is that brand.
Fun times.
Yeah, fun times. Unajua, the DJ side.
My nieces call me Uncle Fun Times.
Yeah?
I like it. Well, I left the audit world in the late 90s to join the family business, which is real estate, which is what I've done the last 27, 28 years. Alongside that, I was also running our entertainment business with Ted Josiah. At some point with Mike Rabah as well of Homeboys was part of us originally. And alongside that, I also, a bit later, when I sort of left the production management side of the, my dad died very suddenly, the early 2000s, so I sort of left the music business to take care of family business. But alongside that, I think my creative things started scratching at me. And again, accidentally, I was once invited to Zanzibar, to the Zanzibar International Film Festival. I remember it was Ford Foundation funded, to go talk to young Zanzibari hip-hop artists about music business. And I'd never done like a workshop formally or anything. Yes, I'd talked to young people before, but not formally. And this was the first formal thing. So I was flown there, spoke to them. Little did I know that would spark off a future in what has now become Creative Enterprise Center. And that's what I've done probably for the last 23 years, which is business skills workshops for the creative entrepreneur. And I've done that all across Africa. I've been very privileged, I say that, from Sierra Leone down to South Africa, helping young creatives just structure their businesses better so they're able to replicate their creative art. And that helped combine my finance, business, consultancy background and my creative side. So it's a real sweet spot. So yes, in a way, it still finds its way there. And in the family business, which I handle finance as well. So it's still, the background of it is still very much alive.
Very attached.
Yeah.
What about the leaving from Ernst & Young, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that, I now need to leave? Is it a letter? What's the exit? How does that look like?
Well, I just knew my time was up.
Okay.
So I'm a big believer in quitting while ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in just
Okay.
quit while on top in a way.
Yeah.
So I just felt my time was up. Again, I felt I got out of it what I needed to get out of it.
Yeah.
The same way I left the UK, I
Was
felt
time.
I'd gotten, same thing I left the career
Good.
and said, and that's when I realized I have a lot of creativity in me in the sense that for me to be able to do something, I have to really enjoy it and be that's what highly motivates me, is that I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So in a way, the value add of the audit career was lessening, and I could feel it waning. I started feeling like work. So I said, no, let's change.
It's
So
time to. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because, a lot of people right before they pivot, there is always is it time? What should I do? Yeah. So the wisdom around that, what would you advise to say, is there like a list of things before you jump ship,
Yeah.
you need to get your one, two, three right?
definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
the creative side of me would just say, jump ship,
Kinda.
But the other audit side of me would say, save money, first of all. That's important. Save enough money. And I know this is sort of universally spoken about, but have at least a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses in the bag before you make any drastic decision, including leaving your loved ones. Just make sure you have at least 6 months worth of expenses
Yeah.
in place to help you through a gray period, okay? A year would be better. So no, I don't think you should jump out of the pan into nothing. I mean, unless you're in a highly abusive environment, especially at work, which a lot of sometimes corporate can be. If it starts affecting your mental health. So sometimes I think there's a time to just say, you know what, I'm out. It doesn't matter the cost of it, because if this goes, then what's left?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to get out drastically. But if it's something that is a feeling that's just sort of building up slowly, plan for it, I would say. Plan for it. Sometimes, in some companies, I say the opposite. Sometimes I say, actually become more indispensable and then negotiate your way out and become a consultant to the company you're working with. And that happens a lot today, especially. That opportunity exists, especially if you're a specialist in a certain, you can actually work your way out and then your company becomes, and you're freer, you're able to, you're more flexibility to do, and earn other incomes from other places.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to skin a cat. But yeah, I think that,
Okay.
I mean, every, situation can be, is different sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Tact.
Yeah.
Tact. That's so, especially
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything. I like that. And I like the consulting idea, because that's like sitting on a really interesting border
Yeah.
where you're still earning in some way.
Absolutely.
That's really
The
smart.
sweet spot.
Yeah. Speaking of letting go, you've just mentioned a loss around the 2000 season, Let's talk about grief and loss, and especially, for instance, being in the entertainment industry. Over the years, we've lost a couple of
Oh, wow.
artists,
Yeah, more than a couple.
and other.
Absolutely.
Now, being a practitioner, being someone who's there with them, and in this case, even family, what lessons are you getting from loss? And I know none of us jumps into loss looking for a
No.
lesson, but with time, you sort of realize new
Yeah.
things. So what are these?
Actually, one of my biggest learnings about loss is that it's not personal. I think that's one of the biggest learnings. It's never personal. Why, God? Why me? No. Imagine there are a few billion people. He didn't just say, oh, well, today I will make this person unhappy by, having loss in their lives. It's never personal. It's just life. It is plain and simple. The phrase gone too soon, no, that's the time that person went and was meant to go. It's a hard reality that I guess I've built over time and over a lot of loss, and I've had to just come to terms with it. Now, remember what I said earlier about stress management and not taking on things that are not yours. Death is one of them. Don't take it personally, because you absorb that grief to the extent where you die inside. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't grieve. Big difference. But don't take it personally. There's a very big difference. Don't take it personally, because it's not targeted at you. That person's time was that they ran their course. And actually, with my dad's loss, I actually felt, it's interesting, soon after I just said, actually, when I reflected on it, I realized, these things I told you about, he had set me up, I just realized he'd done his job. He was actually stepping, I'll just say he stepped aside. He didn't die, he just stepped aside. He said, okay, now you be the man I trained you to be or whatever. He just stepped aside, because if you're still there, I'd look at the things I did since he passed on. There's so many things I would not have been able to do if he was in that space. So he let me be the man that ended up becoming. So sometimes it's just life. And that's how I deal with loss. It shocks me, I grieve, but I also get over loss a lot faster, I think, than a lot of people I know, because I don't take it so personally. And trust me, because I have a very wide amount of people I know, I lose probably a lot more than your average Kenyan on a weekly basis. I don't think there's a week that passes without some form of loss happening. But when you stop absorbing it all, like literally that phrase, life goes on, it's a tough one, but life actually does go on. Because trust me, I say this to people, especially in corporate, they'll bury you on Saturday, Monday, there's a job description going up in the Nation saying vacancy, and life goes on.
Life goes on, yeah.
That's the reality of life.
Yeah.
It does actually go on. The people you're grieving with, they're with you that whole week. Monday, they also have a life. They get back to your life, it becomes very quiet around you.
Yikes. Yeah, powerful lesson, man. Your father plants seeds before he steps aside, like you say. Are you as intentional, would you say, about fatherhood and fathering kids? And how has that been for you?
I think so. I mean, I like to think of myself as a very involved father.
Okay.
From when my kids literally were born. I've tried my best, especially when they were very young. I used to be very intentional, in fact, picking them up, like when my men were boys, I used to pick them up from school every day, drop them off, talk to them about, sit with them and do their homework. When they were very young, even however busy I was, I'd say I'd make sure I'd sit with them and do their homework. Why? My mother was a teacher. She gave up teaching, I think, when she had me. And I remember there were 5 of us. Okay, before my kid bro came in, I was the 4th out of 5 children. before he came and broke my brain, were 4 of us.
Yeah.
And raising 4 children, I'll never forget. We used to come, we're all in one school, and we'd sit around a table, and everyone had homework. And me being the youngest, so she'd set up the eldest, okay, you know what you're doing? You know what you're doing? They're more independent. Then the brother I follow, who's 3 years, we have a 3 years apart, she'd set him up, but she'd spend more time with me because I was the youngest. I was one of those straight A nerds throughout most of my life. And hence the specs, just the nerdy look. And I always say the attribution to that is not because I was brighter than the next person. It's I remember my mother sitting with me and showing me why. By sitting with me, she showed me that this is important to her and it should be important to me. So I took my academia with the gravitas that it needed. And I made it important to me. And I think that's what it gave me, the confidence that this is something I should do and make myself proud and make my parents proud and make the community proud. So I took it on like that, I think. And again, it's not honestly speaking, I think a lot of, and the way, unfortunately, our education system is structured is on exams. You know, term-end exams, year-end exams. Put everything you know in the year into one exam. So if you're nervous that day or something's a bit off or you're not well, you won't perform as well, you get your D, you're told you're a failure, and life goes on. Not the best structure. And this is why CBC and all these other things are coming in to change that. But we won't get into that whole thing. But I honestly believe, especially in primary school, that everyone who was in that, like when we're getting into exam space, everyone has the same knowledge, everyone has the same ability, but different people have different preparation. The thing that I think differentiates success from not success is preparation. Exam practice, the calm, all those things. And I think I really did a lot, together with their mother, to prepare our children during exams, mentally, more than even academically. Just so and mentally, how actually through a lot of practice. So sitting them and teaching them, now this is where the teacher in me comes out, I guess I'm my mother's genes, but also teaching them exam tactic of, reading again, choosing the easy ones first, getting the easy points. Those things we're told, those strategies. I'd reinforce those. So yes, I've been heavily involved as a father in my children's academic, and oddly enough, I have 3 creative children who chose creative paths. That was not intentional. That was not even planned or anything. I was, maybe I was thinking maybe one will pick Madhavu, maths. And here's the interesting thing. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a doctor originally. So I'm a science nerd. In fact, my O-levels, I got A's in science throughout. I also had A's in maths, but I also had A's in sciences and in the arts.
Okay.
You get? So there are these tests they do to see which career, and it showed I could be this, I could go into marketing, or I could go into finance. And of course, unfortunately, my parents got hold of that report, and you can guess where they leaned into.
Yeah.
But I find my children are exactly the same. They're all science, very heavy science and maths, but they're also big on English and history, So they basically could do either. But unlike our time when we were sort of encouraged, I never encouraged them.
Okay.
I let them I said, whatever you choose, make sure you excel in it. That's all I ask of you. Be the very best you can be in it. So my eldest son, who's 27, chose 3D animation. He studied that in Dubai. My second born, who just graduated with a master's in music scoring for film and gaming. And then my youngest daughter was about to go off to the UK to study film making.
Very artistic.
I'm trying to get them to form a company. They can't see the future is the Kiyama family entertainment empire. Managed, of course, by their father for 10% from each. And then I don't need NSSF, I don't need SHA, I don't need Albi, just comfortable, resting. Ka-ching. I mean, what a waste of talent.
There is definitely an opportunity there. Please go for that, actually.
Kids, I hope you're watching.
So Betty and I, who's one of the producers as well, hey, makofi kwa Betty, please. Thank you for what you do. She and I often talk about exit plans, yeah? And in this case, even for the artists, most especially.
Right.
Because, like we said, over the years, not only has there been loss, but a lot of careers have sort of,
plummeted.
You know how it goes.
Yep.
So let's start with yours.
Okay.
Yeah. Besides the plan, do you are you thinking of that, an exit plan of some sort?
Well, I've had a plan for like last 20 years.
How does that look like?
Let me tell you, one of the biggest expenses you're going to take, and this is to new mothers, new fathers, one of the biggest expenses. There are two expenses in your life you'll probably, if we exclude black tax, you'll take on in your life is education, if you have children, and medical bills. And not necessarily your family medical bills, but extended family, black tax, medical bills. And with that come funeral expenses, things as you grow older, they tend to go out. And that's just the reality where we are today. Having said that, when you get to a point where your children are past the education phase, your bank account tends to smile a little more. In fact, you might get more calls from your bank. You know, during that time, they don't call you because they can't see anything in it. They can't see anywhere they live and make money. Then suddenly they say, hapa, unaka kitu. Inaonekana, this kisima is starting. So you start calling, oh, do you know we have this product? That's when you know it's time. And that's the mark. You want to know when it's time?
Yeah, there will
it's
be
when your
signs.
bank manager calls you.
Yeah.
This time, not to ask you to pay a loan, to ask you to just invest this. We're seeing, now you know, enyewe nimemake. Retirement beckons.
Yeah.
So, my plan is very simple. Life is short. Is the creative side talking to me a lot more now. Once that maneno ya education na hizo vitu, I know your children still need you a bit longer, but that heavy burden is off. Acha niwaambie. Just stop following me on social media.
It's about to go down.
It's about to go down.
Yeah.
So, I plan to do a lot of traveling. I plan to work a lot on boards. And 3 particular boards I have in mind is boards that handle something to do with children. And it could be development of children, it could be safety, but something that deals with children, something that deals with advancing women's rights in the creative sector. And something alongside what I'm doing now, which is the training side. So a lot of research into, now there's AI and everything, but a lot of research into, someone dealing with a lot of research into the future of the creative sector. Those are areas I'd really like to work in, but from a board perspective, not a day-to-day, more from a strategic perspective.
Yeah.
Because I feel with the experience I have, that's where I can contribute positively to improving society.
This is true. Are you still working with the Rumi Foundation?
Yes. Yes,
good,
I sit on their board, yeah.
Okay.
Amongst
and
a couple of other
clearly
boards.
around kids and all.
No, that,
Education?
so no, it's, how would I put it? I would call it a general foundation that just wants to leave the world better than how we found it. So it's a
not
real
particular
privilege.
on
No,
children.
I'm very privileged to sit on it.
Okay.
And I've been on it for the last 17 years in the UK. It's UK based.
Yeah.
So yes, we try and just improve the world as best as we can. But I sit on a few other boards, especially in an advisory. I'm also a governance expert, so I help people run boards better as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, keep at it.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
We'll try.
2 final questions.
Okay.
One around the creative, the orange economy within the last 10 years.
Sure.
Where you think we can improve.
Okay.
Because what your generation did was sort of set it up.
Yep.
It's from your hands, it really took off.
Yeah.
Then the last couple of years, it's been super chaotic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure you're noticing a few things we could improve. So that improval. Then the closing question would be a thing that your younger self would definitely think is the coolest thing you've ever done. And it could go in any direction. So let's start with
My younger self
Yeah.
would think of something, the coolest thing I've ever done in my later age.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Let's start with the first one.
Okay. Here's the thing about innovation sometimes and startups or whatever it is. The people who normally start it are not necessarily the people who benefit from it. So we had a lot to do with the people I've named, the Bruce Odhiambos, the Suzanga Shukias, the Ted Josiahs, the Ogopa DJs. We had a lot to do with sort of kicking off the Kenyan urban music scene, in fact, the East African urban music scene. We were not necessarily the biggest beneficiaries of it, because I would say the systems that are there today were not in place. Okay, the copyright systems, they were not solidly in place, and it's not things you could monetize that way. I'm not saying we didn't make money out of it. I'm just saying, if it were now, ingekuwa different.
Yes.
No. So, however, I like to think then we inspired the next generation, and I can think of the next generation, not just the Caliph, but way past. I would say the beginnings of Just a Band and Sauti Sol in the early days and others like that in the late 2000s and getting into the 20,
Okay. So the Motoni drama
yeah,
queens and
as it progressed, I think what changed was there were more structures in place. People started understanding the business a little more. People started getting more international, like looking yonder, East African-wide, Africa-wide, Europe, that's Y-U-R-O-P, ladies and gentlemen, and Amerikansky and other places. So they started spreading the music wider, and then you've got to also realize the technology changed. In our times, we're still doing CDs and cassettes. Then, the YouTube started. Then, more streaming, and now, where we are. So I think, for me, the one thing, however, that I think there are two things I think artists today need to understand. Any creative, forget just musicians. One of the most fundamental things as a creative you need to take stock of is your IP assets, your intellectual property assets. If you're a film writer, for example, the copyright sits heavily in the script. The asset originates at the script level. If you're a songwriter, that's where the asset sits. That's where your IP really sits heavily. Yes, there's other IPs around production, but really without the song being written, there's nothing. It can't be produced if it's not been written. So it's understanding, I think, that you can actually play your part in just the writing part and still make money. You don't have to sing the song. You might not be the best singer to sing that song, but if you write it, well, you will still make money out of it. Even if Beyonce sings, Beyonce, wow, if she takes it up, you really make money.
Yeah.
But if you look at a lot of the artists' songs, you'll find there are 6 writers. A Beyonce song typically has at least 6 writers, and her name is not necessarily on it. That's why she tours a lot, because that's where she makes most of her money as an artist touring. But she doesn't make most of her money when it's streaming. This is what people don't realize about the business. So I think it's understanding the business more. And it's like, I always say, follow the money. What is your skill set? Where is money made in your category? Where can I plug into? Don't try and be a generalist. That's the advice I would give people today. Don't try, be a specialist. Be niche. And I think that's where money can be made. So understand your IP assets, but secondly, understand distribution. How do you get product A to B? Understand the process, and this gives me a chance to sip this. Understand the process of how, because I find that I get a lot of, especially musicians, or even filmmakers saying, hey, so I produced this thing, and it's a fantastic production. Now, how do I get it out there? I'm like, wait, when you're producing it, you should have already been thinking of how you're going to get it out there and put a budget to it. So a lot of people, they have 100,000, they'll put 80,000 production, 20,000 or whatever, or 70,000 production, 30,000 to a video, perfect. No money for promotion, no money for distribution, nothing. So it's just understanding that process.
Good.
Yeah.
Asante sana for that. We're putting you on game for sure.
Is there more question?
Yes.
Final question.
Yes. So
Just repeat the question.
I got you. Just setting it up. So yeah, we're definitely putting you on game. The creatives in the space and the ones who'll watch, clearly this has to be one of your favorite episodes. And for those who've been here, we've gotten gems like from parenting to dancing. I don't know if he still dances. And all this.
Check my IG page, there's a post.
Yeah?
It's pinned. There's no other evidence I can put. Otherwise, my medical insurer will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
say
be
less.
careful.
Yeah, so final question. What thing do you think, it doesn't have to be recent,
Okay.
that you have done that your younger self would be super proud of? You know, and you could go as sentimental, but you could also go as, you know, as simple as you want.
So other than meeting Obama, because you already said that, yeah?
Could be a thing.
Other than DJing for Obama, actually my most amazing, somebody asked me this question actually not so long ago, but my most amazing creative experience was touring with Miriam Makeba and Hugh Masekela in South Africa and working behind the production of a show they put together in 1998 in what was then Pretoria, now Tshwane. Because I used to be Hugh Masekela's agent for East Africa. And they were doing a show together, and I spent one whole week with Miriam Makeba, staying at Hugh Masekela's home, but with Miriam Makeba. And for me, that was the greatest moment in my entire creative space, because she was a legend. So, and it's, even on my social, that's my most treasured photo. I have photos with all kinds of stars, whatnot. I've met them all. But Miriam Makeba, there was nothing. It's the only time my dad has been jealous of me. I'll never forget that. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Makeba? I'm like, yeah, Dad, you know. Well,
So you know you
so
made
yeah,
it.
that's my coolest moment.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That even sort of puts me in a place where I cannot not ask this question. What is a common thing between all these greats? You know, from the Fergusons to the Obamas to the Makebas. What would you say you've noticed in all of them?
The ability to make you feel special. Even if they're spending 5 seconds with you or 5 minutes. And it comes from a very deep humility, but the ability to make you feel seen, make you feel special at that moment when they're talking to you, you feel seen. And I think the greater they are, the more that skill, I've noticed, is there. And I think it's a skill they develop over time because of meeting so many people. Yeah, I think that's what I've picked up from that.
That's such a fantastic lesson. Humility is clearly the mother of giants. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a giant among us, and he's humble enough to sit and chill with us and just do fruity tea on a random Wednesday afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for the day. Makofi kwake tafadhali. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Easy. Nice
David
one. Nice
Muriithi.
one. Nice one.
Asante sana.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you. A round of applause, tafadhali. Hey! Thank you. Sante,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
No. It was all yours, David. It was always yours.
Start your day right with the Fruit and Nut Bowl. This is a feel-good favorite of a creamy blend of Greek and natural yogurt, nutrient-packed nuts, juicy dried fruits, and antioxidant-rich berries. It's a nourishing bowl that is as beautiful as it is balanced. Hey, did someone say breakfast? Did someone say breakfast? Well, you could also get the Nordic Delight. This is a delicate smoked salmon layered on rustic rye with deal cream cheese paired with creamy scrambled eggs, crisp cheese crackers, and a fresh garden salad. A sophisticated plate that whispers northern charm and is perfect for those who brunch with style. Is this for you? It better be. It better be yours, because it's breakfast at Sugar Bowl, baby. And that's it for this episode of the Casually Human podcast with Martin Kigondu. Until next time, stay dope out there. You can recommend us to your friends, family, and follow us on Spotify, on the socials, and definitely on the YouTube. As for me, I'm at Kigondu on all different social media platforms. That is at KIGONDUW. And as a podcast, we are at casually_human_pod on IG, on X, TikTok, and everywhere you look for us. Until next time, peace.